CrowdStrike, there was this huge outage. Everyone saw it in the news. It grounded a bunch of flights. It caused
banks,
chaos. Everyone, here we are on Wednesday, and things are pretty much all back to normal.
The servers are in Ukraine, is what the rumor on the internet is.
So CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity company that Microsoft uses. They uploaded an update. There was a glitch, and it's called the blue screen of death. 8.5 million customers. So then you extrapolate how many people that affects. It's like billions of people, right? It affected a lot of the airlines, hospitals, India, Bangladesh, Canada, like basically anyone who had a Microsoft product. So you can't figure out where a plane needs to go, determine what this patient needs.
And you can't even install another update, right? I mean, you're just blue screen of death.
Because on the record, I think it's a hack. You can go tinfoil.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a hack. I think it was all planned. Look at the series of events that's happened in the last week.
I think it's a foreign actor.
DJT, they tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Sleepy steps down. Kamala's coming to power. God knows what Sleepy was doing in Ukraine. Apparently, CrowdStrike has a presence in Ukraine.
CrowdStrike has a presence in anyone using a Microsoft product in their business enterprise.
So that's Ukraine. Is that false?
I'm not saying it's false.
People in Ukraine don't use Microsoft?
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Check us out on YouTube. We're blowing up. We're going to have, what I want is one of those little plaques. You know how all those fucking influencers have those plaques?
Yeah, they get it at like 10 million subscribers. We're
right. Well, how many do we have?
We may carry Google's earnings if the Cathys sign up.
They need all the help they can get. We're here to help. Don't worry, Google. We'll get your stock turned around.
We saw those YouTube ads slow down.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but yeah.
YouTube, group chat pod. I will say, I say this every time, so sorry for being annoying, but when we talk about like funny shit, especially when we talk about Trump, it's really fun to read the comments. And just so that you guys know, listeners, a lot of times what happens is you guys, roast us or give your input in the comments, and then, the team puts it in the group chat. The group chat. So we all see it. We all text about it. And
Good
it's
laughs.
just it's a much better way to be able to hear your guys' feedback. So even if you listen on Spotify, to be honest, go comment on YouTube. Because it's fun to read here.
You want to clown woke on in? YouTube is the place to do it.
Yeah. Or clown our MAGA two other hosts.
I didn't see any of that. I didn't see any of that in there. I think it was all woke stuff.
Well, you must be happy. Your chief woke officer now is running for president.
I mean, she's CWO for sure.
Kamala Harris, I think, you could, if you just take politics aside, just logistics, there really wasn't another option because you would lose all the money that Biden had raised. But
other than that, isn't that the only reason that statement is true? Because she's bad.
Well, I will say, if you look at her speeches in the last couple of weeks versus 4 years ago, they're not comparable. And as we know, a president, she talked about her life.
We need to be unburdened by what has been so we can burden what will be.
So she actually talked about her laugh in an interview, how saying, I'm not going to change my laugh because that's how my family used to laugh, and that's me.
They laugh ridiculous?
Well, you also can't change your laugh.
She likes
unless
belly
you're
laughs.
a sociopath.
Yeah,
right.
I can't change my voice.
But I
can't change my laugh.
You can, though. Elizabeth Holmes did both.
Yeah, she
did.
You can be a sociopath.
But if you're a true sociopath, you should be able to change anything.
Who's saying she's a sociopath?
The laugh is sociopathic.
But I think the larger point is, logistically, there was not another option to actually have a shot.
But just
November.
Because of the money, right?
Well, the money overlooking the vice president, the person that technically should be next in charge, and she is the vice president of this current administration,
right?
Overlooking the first black vice president. The optics should be really bad. So, I mean, I don't think this late, I don't think there was another option. And if you hear her speeches in the last week or two, since this all kind of transpired, she's stepped it up.
I just want to say objectively, like not even my opinion, when she was running for president, she pulled so terribly. She didn't do well.
So I guess the point really is the president is effectively a figurehead that just talks to world leaders, and it's their cabinet administration that actually institutes policy.
The deep state.
So if you look at George Bush, I mean, the guy was a dummy.
Right.
And had all these people take advantage of him, which wasn't great. You look at Donald Trump, he had a bunch of people that had hide the nuclear codes from him because they thought he was going to get into a war. There are plenty of books about it. So I think our bar is just very different for what the president is actually doing versus what we think they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And because you're only calling out Republicans, I would call out all presidents.
Yeah. No,
I think Obama, Clinton, they all to me were just good figureheads. That's it.
But I would like to reiterate my statement from a couple episodes ago that the one thing that I do think they do is like the tone of the country. Like that's why I thought Biden was so bad, is because it just looks weak and bad. That's why I think Obama was so great. I'm not talking about policies. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the way he spoke and presented himself. It felt safe. You felt like we were led well. We were in good hands.
Agree. And I totally agree. And I think that certainly matters because the U.S. economy under Biden, whether you want to give him credit for it or not, has done pretty damn well, right? Unemployment, 50-year low. Yeah, stock market, all-time
I'm just
high.
letting you know, when you say that, it sounds so disconnected for a low-income person that cannot make their ends meet. It has done well for the wealthy, which is not the party they represent.
Well, I mean, we have 3.5% unemployment rate. So if you want to get a job, and the highest number of jobs are actually...
You should really... That's the one thing I think you're actually wrong on, is that the optics of the economy, yes, stock market unemployment.
So what could another president do differently?
I think we should have attacked inflation in many different ways.
So the inflation is technically the Federal Reserve, not the president.
No, well, there was
like Inflation Reduction Act.
Better, put a bunch of cash into the country.
Inflation Reduction Act was one of the biggest, like, literal slap in the face jokes that it was called Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah, when you pump cash into the economy.
The name might have been wrong, but it was damage was done before.
No, but it still put trillions of dollars.
But don't you think like half the damage was done before and then half, like, I don't know the exact dollar amount, but what was stimmy versus what was excess?
So if we're going to the point of figurehead as the president, which is kind of what we're assuming for the last 6 presidents, at least in our lifetime.
Yep.
She's turned the corner on being a good speaker compared to what she was doing in 2020. And that's undebatable. You can look at her in 2020. You can look at the speeches she's doing now.
Where's she doing speeches?
Now it's just about where you actually sit on the political spectrum on who you want to vote for, because neither candidate they both have their own separate agendas. So you have to vote on the agenda, not the actual person. That's unfortunately where we've come to as a country.
I just have to tell you, I don't agree with you on that. Yeah, even though I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm also not trying to hide anything like our listeners think. I am choosing to opt out of this election. That is where I stand in who I'm going to vote for. Nobody. But the guy just got shot in the face and pumped his fist and said, fight, fight, fight. It's not even to Kamala doing better than she did in 2020. There is still a difference. It's not just even and just let's just vote for policies. People like the energy of success, and we need to protect our smart people and Elon Musk, and we need to be better. We need to be great. We need to be, I'm not hearing that from Kamala.
So one of the biggest criticisms of Biden is he's 81, right? We've never elected an 81-year-old president. We've never elected a 78-year-old president either.
Yeah, but I don't think with Biden, but if Biden was sharp, no one would bring up that he's 81.
Yeah.
But I don't think, objectively, like, take my political size away.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't sound as sharp as he did in 2016.
Right. I that's fine with me, that comment, but he still is plenty sharp that people are only bringing up his age as a rebuttal to Biden comments.
Have you seen some of his speeches? He's lost his fastball.
I disagree. I don't think he's a great speech giver. I think I watched his RNC speech. I thought it was boring and long, but he
was in Houston, Texas yesterday. Just like his hands just kept like he was trying to make a motion and it made no sense.
So you're not going to win that argument,
I don't know.
though.
I listened to him on podcasts. I listened to him with Logan Paul. I listened to him with the Nelk Boys.
I saw that highlight of golf. He looks great.
Yeah, he's golfing. He golfs way better than I thought. That's my winner of the week. Look, I'm not saying the guy's the sharpest guy on the planet. I think that there's this weird thing happening with the left now that's like, okay, see, now we don't have the old guy.
Okay, it's like, not no, see now. Not. You just want a steward of the values you care about. That's it.
Yeah, she's not that steward for me.
That's fine.
Right.
I mean, RFK just switched. He's trying to get on the Trump administration. You saw that, right?
I'm okay with that. I'm aligned with RFK's values.
RFK kept saying he was anti-Trump this entire last 2 years.
I know, but isn't that interesting that so many people that were anti-Trump are saying, wait a minute, let's take another look at this, including
they're
JD
like,
Vance.
He's going to win. This is how I get power. That's all it is.
I think that's a shallow way to look at it. I honestly think.
We talked about this on a couple episodes ago that everyone close to whoever the president is has power, and people are greedy for power. So RFK did was sacrifice all of his values to be like, okay, I didn't like Trump, and now because he might be he's the favorite for the president, like the betting odds, he's minus 200, which means
it's a lock.
They said about Hillary too.
Well, that's a different. Now they actually poll people in the middle of the country.
So Trump is the favorite, and now RFK is like, how do I get closer to power?
Right.
And so it's the same with the donor class. The donor class tries to get to power. Right. And they did it with Biden. They all backed Biden because they thought the Never Trump slogan was going to win. Yeah. And it didn't. And now the donor class looks like kind of foolish, in my opinion.
Right. Well, the donor class is now on Trump.
Well, no, the Democratic donor class.
Yeah, but I'm saying
now they're all on. I mean,
a lot of Democratic donors are now are backing Trump. A lot of those Silicon Valley people are not.
Who did Mark Andreessen donate to?
No, but they did that. They did that before the switcheroo. If you look at now Silicon Valley, it's like a common thing on Twitter that how Silicon Valley just pretty much switched as soon as, except for Mark Andreessen and Ben, that like Reed Hastings, all these guys who said they would not donate to Biden. Now
that was a ploy. That was a ploy. That was them pushing him out. They used their power to push him out.
My take is, and you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm perfectly willing for this to age wrong, because I do agree with you in that anytime in politics someone starts to become the front runner, everyone slowly gathers around them. And even in 2016, we saw that with Trump, where Ted Cruz and all these guys said the worst things about him, and then all of a sudden they're endorsing him. But I do think, here's my take.
So sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm not trying to interrupt you.
It's okay.
The Republican candidates that were all trying to be president in 2016. Yeah. He called Ted Cruz
lying
part of the lying Ted, part of the Kennedy. His dad was part of the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
I think he roasted his wife. Right. Called Marco Rubio a clown. Yeah. He called all these guys the worst possible things, and they all gathered around him because they're like, okay, he's going to be president. Right. So we need to jump towards him.
Right. So let me just say, I agree with you that happens every election, and that is a joke and it's a clown show and stupid. I would just like to say that I think something slightly different is happening. And I think there is this thing happening where a lot of people that previously just wrote off Trump completely, he's a scumbag, he's a piece of shit, fuck him, that's my take, are kind of taking a look and saying, you know what, maybe we were wrong. Maybe we judged him as this. Maybe we called him all those things. That's what I see in Andreessen. That's what I see in Chamath. That's what I see in a lot of different places where people are saying, wait a minute. And so I would argue that maybe JD Vance and maybe RFK are going through more of a moment like that.
Yeah. JD Vance, they're calling him Sarah Palin 2.0. Have you seen that?
I mean, the intelligence level is not quite the same. You know where JD Vance went to college and what his background is.
Yeah, he's an
Ohio boy. You be careful.
Yeah.
He had his speech was pretty bad.
Yeah, I think
I just bought his book. I'm about to learn about our future vice president.
Yeah, you might as well learn.
JD Vance also said, we're not going to listen to the judicial branch. We're going to do whatever we want. So you have to take that into account too.
Yeah, I mean,
that's democracy.
We'll see. I look, this is how I feel, and this may be wrong, but I spent 4 years with Trump in office feeling like, oh my God, he said that. Oh my God, they're going to do that. Oh my God. And nothing happened.
Well, I think there's been multiple books from people inside the office that have been released, and conversations, podcasts, YouTube, that basically said we had to hide stuff from him.
Right, but what do you think they did to Biden? And also Google search Kamala Harris's vice president office. Just look at what's happening. The turnover rate is insane. There's madness for 4 years, and people can't stick around. So I'm just saying anyone can write a book about.
We can talk about this forever, and we have a lot of great news topics. Right. I'm going to tie a bow on this from my side, and you guys can tie a bow on your side.
I don't think we're ready to tie bows.
I mean, I don't think we need to do an hour podcast on Kamala versus Trump.
That might actually be the best thing we could do, but I hear you. What's your bow?
My bow is, objectively, I don't think Trump's playbook of being like the bully against the woman is going to work. He called her dumb as a rock. And if he just went center, he could keep his lead and keep going.
Yeah, I don't think you talk to regular people.
Yeah, so you think...
I don't think it fucking matters.
So your bow says he's playing it wrong and he's going to lose.
I'm not saying he's going to lose. I'm just saying he's making himself potentially losing because he's trying to do the 2016 playbook. Because when Biden was the candidate 3 weeks ago, which is also insane, he wasn't talking as crazy, and now he's going the crazy route.
Right. I haven't heard that. I mean, I'm not saying you're not right. I'm just saying I've heard him like have a couple jabs here and there, but I haven't heard. To me, overall, he seems way more subdued than 2016, where he was calling.
I think he was when Biden was a candidate because he thought he was going to just smoke him.
Right.
And my only comment, and it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat, I think it's, as we know, there's there's maybe 5 to 10% of the country that actually follows this stuff closely. Most people don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And when they see headlines, dumb as a rock, this, that, they're like, is this guy like, is this the same thing we're falling for in 2016? It has nothing to do about what his foreign policy is going to be. Nothing to do about what the regulation and taxes.
I think that's the wrong card to play against Trump, because
I'm not saying it's a card. I'm just saying no. There's no card. I'm just saying I think the Ohio voter could potentially look at that and say like, this guy's a jackass. That's all.
I hear you. I can't critique it because it's just, that's your opinion. My opinion is, I think people are like, you know what? He talked shit to all those people in 2016 and he was right. Hillary should be in jail. This should happen. This shit is kind of fucked up. I do think that. I really do.
Shouldn't Trump be in jail? His only immunity is because he was the president.
Yeah, but look, you understand what you're going after Trump for versus what you're going after all these other folks for?
You can say everyone's equally criminal. Put them all in jail.
That's the point, though. But that's the point. Is if you only pick one, now that becomes the issue. Because now you've only picked one. And you just said, because you're logically, you know that's true. You could probably put cases like Training Day. I'm going to put cases on all you motherfuckers. You could put it on every president for the last, I don't know, maybe ever, or at least 30 years. And they would I would say
most people of that kind of power have done illicit activities.
Exactly.
Right. So when you only charge one person, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying the rhetoric.
I think people are woken up to that.
I'm just saying the rhetoric could backfire. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I hear you. That's a fine take.
That's your opinion.
Yeah.
I think the rhetoric actually works this time because what Drama was saying, there are people just like angry and frustrated, and they don't care about political correctness and how you speak anymore. It literally does not matter. Do you see what people are saying on Twitter now?
Everyone knows. Like everyone knows Bill Clinton was on the Epstein plane. Like everyone knows all these.
I'm talking about
Twitter's not the world. We've already talked about this.
No, I'm saying in terms of the way of, forget politics. I'm saying today, political correctness is nowhere near it was 4 years ago.
That's
not
fine.
at all.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I think Trump is a figurehead for that, where people are like, you know what? I want to go back to how I was talking. I liked it.
Yeah.
I just think he's extreme on the rhetoric side, where most people are probably like, I'm fine with the Shane Gillis comedy and Dave Chappelle comedy, but when it's comedy, it's fine. But when you're actually talking about people, it's different.
Right.
I mean, they called Trump Hitler, though. Democrats, Hitler. Is he Hitler? Do you know what that accusation means?
Right.
Calling someone
what was
Hitler?
the one Hitlery thing he did?
I didn't say he's Hitler.
I know, but
I'm just like, it's just so
the people
fucking
you want to
frustrating.
hold to the highest regard are
I'm not
calling
saying
him Hitler.
highest regard. I made my case.
Yeah, they're
that
doing
whoever
it too.
the Democratic candidate is going to present the values that I care about.
That they're presenting that Donald Trump is Hitler.
I mean, he makes fun of disabled people, and I don't.
Right, but that's the point. That's the only point the only thing I ask, if I could change the
That it's the
world,
same.
it's just that it's the same. Like,
It's
let's
the
stop
same.
acting like there's the good guys and the bad guys.
So, I'm
because
not
calling
saying
someone
good
dumb
guy-
as a rock is not nearly as bad as calling them Hitler.
Didn't I just explain my whole angle? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
he's
really
arguing
arguing
with
You're
you.
holding him
I'm
to
not-
a different standard.
I'm personally not
I
really.
just said they're both. Whoever the president is going to be is a
Right.
figurehead that's presenting whatever values you want to hold. And
Right.
it doesn't matter what Kamala Harris says. It doesn't matter what Donald Trump says. It matters what agenda they're going to put forth. And that's
Right.
how you need to vote.
And the
That's
only
it.
thing that I'm disagreeing with you on that, because that's totally fair and reasonable. The only thing is, I think you are missing the fact that Donald Trump portrays a type of leadership, even if it's not your type or my type even. He portrays leadership and optimism and where the country is going significantly better than Kamala Harris. And I think he has a weapon there that she doesn't have. So I don't think it's
Because I think
even.
the real problem with the Democratic agenda, it isn't about optimism. It's about complaining. That's why they lost me. Everything is
It's about
complaining.
victimhood.
Yes, and that's where they lost me as a supporter. Is that no, there are things going well in this country. Why don't we recognize that?
They've gone well the last 4 years under Democratic
I
leadership.
know you know if you
But
went,
they went well
I want you to-
before that too. I mean, I'm just saying, like, things are just
So
better
here-
than ever.
So no.
So why don't we talk about that ever?
Here's actually the larger point, in my opinion.
Mhm.
The U.S. economy, the stock market, doesn't matter if it's Republican, Democrat. In my adulthood, there's only been 2 times where the stock market took a dive: financial crisis
Yep.
and COVID 2020 for 2 months and then
Right.
ripped.
Right.
It doesn't matter who the president is for the economy, in my opinion.
Right. I agree
So
with you, but
then
why aren't we talking about how great things are instead of everything's about who's more a victim?
No,
Yeah.
then it goes to like cultural values and how you want gun rights, how you want abortion rights, how you want,
So right.
That's all I'm saying. And
Yeah.
and if you're pro-life, yeah, you should be a Republican.
But let me tell you one thing. Is I hear you on that argument, and that's a decent argument. But I would like to also say that I think values that I support are optimism and not being a victim and celebrating our smart people, quote unquote. And those are also values that I hold very dear. I think that it's like toxic and terrible to raise a country or a person or anyone on values of victimhood and blaming and who's the most oppressed. Those are also values.
No, that's fair. And if you look at all of Joe Biden's speeches, regardless of delivery, because he's obviously wasn't able to deliver it the way
The way he intended, the way it was written.
the actual contents of the speech was how much they've accomplished in the last
But
4
it's how
years.
much they've accomplished, you know? Like it
Not
was just,
Whatever the world. You think Trump's going to give Democrats credit?
I know. I think that Trump has a message that is much more about just general, like thriving and prospering and success. And saying, like, to me, this could very easily be made fun of because it's not about me being a fucking Elon Musk groupie. The difference of saying that Elon Musk is really smart and we need to protect our smart people versus, I don't know, he's got a lot going. There's a lot that we should be looking into there and flooding him with lawsuits. That is a value that I support.
That
Yeah.
obviously
So
I disagree.
strongly.
That's one example for sure. I agree. Like the Democrats should embrace Elon. They should.
But
not
I think
be
you're kind of
pushing
doing
Elon.
a thing here. I think you tried to do a little bit of a thing that was like, well, if you fucking don't want, you don't care about mothers and you want everyone getting shot, you should be Republican. Like, well, it's not that easy. There's some good values on the left and there's some good values on the right.
So give me policies that you think Republicans are better at than Democrats.
So I'll be very honest with you, and I'm not going to try to act smarter than I am. I'm not talking about policies at all. I don't think that the Democrats implemented any policies that changed any of these things you're talking about for the better. I'm talking about the values that they represent, meaning self-starting.
You just want a Tim Robbins. You just want a Tim Robbins.
That's what a leadership is, though.
Positivity. And I want to talk about where we're going and what's going to be amazing and what is going so well and how America is the only place in the world like this where you can make these things happen and all the smart people that we have here. And that's what I want to talk about. I mean, imagine like you guys have young kids. Imagine just talking to your kid every day about how bad things are. It's not fair for them. It's not ever going to be fair because they're not this person. The rich people are taking all their money. Why even try? And then wonder why your kid's depressed when he's 18. It's a toxic, terrible environment.
So I'm going to counter you right there because there's a Time Magazine article that released today.
Mm-hmm.
So Donald Trump's, so his brother died, I think at 43, Fred Trump.
Yep.
His son, Fred Trump, has a kid with infantile spasms, which is exactly what Maverick has.
Yep.
And when Donald Trump became president, he's like, oh, my uncle's president. I can maybe get some visibility on this and get more research. You know what he wrote in his memoir? So look, these are his words.
Right.
And I can't say that this is like 100% factual, but it's published in Time Magazine. It's his book. Right. He said those types of kids should die. It's a waste of time trying to save them.
Yeah, right.
So
I hear you, but we're talking
my son.
about
That's my son.
Right.
So values. When you talk about values, saying kids with I'm in the fucking hospital for a week.
Yep.
Dealing like I want anyone that thinks that walk through a pediatric ICU in any children's hospital around the country and tell me that comment is consistent with your values.
Right. So I hear you, and it's nearly impossible for me to not make you feel the way you feel about that. All that I'm saying is,
and that happened today, and I already didn't like the guy before.
Right.
Now
what I'm saying
I hate
is,
the guy.
if you had heard him say that, I would get it, and I would agree with you, and that would be enough. Even just knowing you, me hearing that he said that would be enough for me to say, you know what, fuck him forever. But I just we gotta be careful about, oh, he said this one time, kids should die.
He said this to his nephew.
Right, but anyone can say that.
I'm not saying he should die. I'm saying
I know.
This is opposite of any value that I would ever carry.
Right. And that's fair. And like I said, it's going to be hard for me to change your mind on that. But all I'm saying is I don't trust. Yeah, this is what he said. He said this. I've just heard too many times of people claiming someone said
own
something.
Family member.
I hear you, but come on. We know how family can be the one who's going to be the most one to lie about you. So I want to be careful with saying all right, someone said he said it. So he's, you know what I'm saying? But I get it. It's so personal to you that how could you not feel a certain way about it?
I just thought it was ironic given what I've gone through the last week that this came out today.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think there's any world where you're aligned with who Donald Trump is. That's okay. That's fine. Right. You're allowed to, but in the grand scheme of the country, people have different importance in their life.
That's fine.
And that's how they're going to decide who they vote for. That's who they're going to rally behind. That's who they're going to donate money to.
If anyone has values that disabled kids should be dead because they're a drag on the economy,
but
that's not a value.
Do you want me to go find something? You know what Biden used to say about race issues in this country in the 70s? He literally was imprisoning black people. He had done policies to do that. So are you supporting imprisoning black people? Because that's what Joe Biden's support is.
Give me the policy.
Kamala Harris is known for that in California, locking up everybody.
Kamala Harris, they took a Supreme Court mandate for her to release prisoners that were supposed to be released because she said they were good for working, getting work done, or whatever the fuck.
I don't.
It's just
I think
we
we're
gotta
talking
be careful
in circles.
about.
It's just like
No, it's not talking in circles.
Of course,
No, this is a good conversation that I think a lot of people should be having at the moment. No one's mad at each other.
No one's mad. No one's yelling like the last episode. I don't know where we're going to end on this because the three of us just disagree, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Right. This is why I'll put a bow on my thing. We disagree. That's fine. You should be able to disagree. I think that maybe the good news here is I feel like both sides have some positives, both sides have some negatives. And that's why people can argue over it all day long. And I don't think Trump is as dangerous as he was portrayed to be in 2016. I think it's going to be fine if he's president for 4 years. And to be honest, I think if Kamala's president for 4 years, it's going to be fine too. I don't, there's certain things that I would like to see and I wish weren't there and blah, 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 but it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if you're, you have a job and you can pay your bills, you'll be fine. I think if you have a job and you can't pay your bills, then maybe who the president may actually make an impact.
But I will say, I feel passionate about this. This might be a rude thing to say, but I think if you're having a tough time right now and you're hoping that the president changes that for you in the next 4 years, I would just urge you to think about it differently because I don't think any president has that much power. I think you need to take some power more into your
yourself,
own.
Yeah.
So I also do think the president is obviously very important foreign policy because they decide which wars and Congress. But if you actually care about your day-to-day life, local politics matter way more.
Right. Yeah, they matter way more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I just hope that even if the Democrats win,
the thing is, everyone's so focused on this figurehead individual that's the U.S. president, but your DA, your mayor, that's what actually matters, and no one focuses on that.
It has downstream effect though. Who the president is, it does. They follow party line.
Sure.
That's why I also think tone is so important. I think the victim tone was a trend.
I don't agree with the victim tone.
What do you mean?
Meaning I know what you're talking about that a lot of progressives do, and I think it's wrong.
Oh, no. Yeah. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying I think that tone was a trend. It was fucking bell bottoms. It was a trend that was popular for the last handful of years. And I think it did a lot of damage. And I just hope, even if the Democrats win, I hope that they abandon that. I don't know. It's just, even in LA, you see homeless through the roof. That's not good for us, but that's also not good for the home. Why are there so many more homeless people? What are we not doing? Are we making it easier to be homeless? I see them putting porta potties out and supporting. Are we making it more enticing? What's happening? We're making crime more enticing. We're making you're making more criminals and more homeless people. That's not empathetic. That's not good for anyone. This isn't me saying oh, I'm sick of seeing homeless people. It's wait a minute. Why is there 5 times the homeless people? What about those people? Where would they have been if they weren't homeless? And I just think that victim-y thing that's my biggest complaint really with the party, is that they really chose to like grab onto that narrative. And I think that was a
post-COVID thing at the peak, but
right.
Yeah, we can move on.
Anyway, well, listen, here's where, congratulations, at least Weekend at Bernie's is out. So at least now you have a shot.
At least someone could speak.
Yeah. I felt bad last week when you were like, I think Biden still has a chance. Now at least you're on a little bit more fair playing field.
It's a 50-50 national polling, or whenever the election results, they're going to be within a couple million each way. It's 5 states. So right. It's much ado about nothing. If we had a pot in Ohio or Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, maybe this conversation would be relevant.
I'm not saying we're moving any needles. It's just fun to talk about. Because it's like we joked about it being a slow news cycle for the election. And then Trump, literally in 1 week, Trump got shot in the face, and Biden, did this weird resigning thing, or not resigning.
Probably, at least in modern political history that we can think of, the craziest 4 weeks in politics.
Yeah, it's probably since JFK.
It's crazy. Okay. Here's one kind of adjacent to that topic. Kimberly Cheatle, the Secret Service director, is indeed resigning. So, she was in charge, obviously, when this horrible, look, no matter what side you're on politically, it was a huge failure of her team. She went to Congress and testified. Bipartisan people requested her resignation. She, for a long time, stood on business. I'm not resigning. It's all good. And she changed her mind, I think, after that congressional testimony.
Yeah, I think, she had no legs to stand on. It was just complete incompetence. And, we're going to have a very heated presidential election. These people need to be safe. The presidents, the vice presidents, their families. It looks like a banana republic when our presidents and our leaders have to fear for their life. It's fucking insane.
So I think they all had to fear for their life, because if you look at the number of assassination attempts, it's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
If you look at, there's been 48, 49 presidents.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. It's incumbent upon the Secret Service to make sure they're safe.
Yeah.
And when the details have come out, like this kid was flying a drone. I read that today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't fly a drone in Los Angeles.
Literally at all. And he was flying it back and forth over the whole setup before the thing filled up. I don't know if it was the day before or what it was, but he just over and over checking out all the stuff. It was insane.
It's like one of the biggest failure security perimeter, and the kid is 150 yards away. And even AOC, I disagree with the 90% of what she says. She even went ham on Director Cheatle. Did you guys see the clip?
Yeah. It was so nice to see her ask a real question.
She was like, AR-15 is like the most popular gun in the country.
Yeah.
Is that right, Drama?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah, right. That's what she said.
And AR-15s go 400 to 500 yards. How is this guy 150 yards away from the president or ex-president,
the most popular
presidential
gun.
candidate?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it was great.
It's right. And she's right.
I don't know, man. There's a part, maybe this is absurd. There's a part of this whole Trump assassination attempt that is creating, unity more than I have seen. AOC even asking that question. It's thank you for not caring who the candidate is, just asking a good question about a failure of intelligence that doesn't matter what party it was that almost got shot. It just feels like everything was it was Trump, so I don't care. I'm not going to ask any questions. It's people are actually in these little moments, really caring about the issue, not the politics,
So are you tinfoil hatting it, or you just think the Secret Service incompetence?
I am tinfoiling CrowdStrike.
That's different.
Tinfoil.
We're not there yet.
That's tinfoil.
That's
No. We'll get there. I have a lot of tinfoil on that.
Here's my take as of today, not trying to be funny, is I think it was just incompetence and a wild 1 in a million. All this kid's bullshit worked. I think at the most, there might have been some resentment towards Trump in the leadership of the Secret Service that let them be a little more incompetent. If that was a Democratic candidate, would they have had a little more security? Would they have covered a few more bases? I think Cheatle is very close to the Democrats, and there's a chance she was slightly more incompetent because she didn't like Trump.
So I have no idea what her political leaning is, but generally people in law enforcement lean Republican. So that's where I kind of don't get that argument.
Yeah, but Cheatle's the homie with the Democrats.
So she just said, hey, leave that slope.
No, but this is what I'm saying is look, if you're in charge, this is my honest view, is I think if you're in charge and you fucking don't like Trump and they're asking for more security. Look, no one ever thought in a million years someone's going to shoot his ear off. Like, come on. And this guy's always asking for more security, and he's always asking for this, and he's so fucking annoying. And like, no, tell him no. I think that could happen. I think that's a very human mistake.
And I know we talked about this before, but what's up with the police officer just running when the 20-year-old kid shows the rifle?
Scary.
You know what I don't get? This is my biggest question. How do you not have a radio that says shooter, 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 and the Secret Service comes and tackles Trump before he gets a shot off?
Yeah. So what should have happened, and if you think about it logically, when that police officer got scared from the 20-year-old, he should have radioed to like what you just said and said, like, hey,
down, down.
I just saw a guy with a rifle.
Right. That's the one part I don't get is like, even when the cops, like there was a moment when cops, you know, the crowd got the cops' attention. Hey, there's a guy on the roof. Even if it was 3 seconds before he got the shots off, how do you not radio shooter, shooter? And like the guy was allowed to just stand up there, man, with his hair just blowing in the wind, waiting for that AR-15. It's pretty crazy. So look, full disclosure, because I want to be fair. I'd have to look it up. I heard that Kimberly Cheatle was, I believe she was appointed under the Democrats. I believe that she was closer affiliated with the Democrats. I could be totally wrong. Just full disclosure. I am by no means a journalist, but that's as far as my tinfoil hat goes, is maybe that they were a little lazy because they think he's annoying. I don't think 2 shooters, water tower, fucking stand down orders.
Bullet on the gurney, JFK style.
Bullet on the gurney, right. Grassy knoll. I don't think there was a grassy knoll. Anywho. Okay. Complete jump. Earnings season. What's going on? I saw the
Google
market just not looking great today, at least the stocks I follow.
Google announced yesterday, and what's interesting is they kind of beat on everything. They beat on earnings. They beat on revenue. They're still growing like 14% a year in most categories. It's just unbelievable. But some of the dip is in YouTube ad revenue didn't grow as fast, and some other parts of the business didn't grow as fast. But like you're talking about like just absolute massive business. Right. So like they're doing over, look at this. Last year they did 58 billion in ad revenue. This year they'll do 64 billion. They're still growing at such a crazy clip.
Right.
And I know the stock's down today, went down like $9-10, but man, this company is just, and by the way, they have like pretty wasteful spend in different parts of their business that like, I'm sure if they really wanted to like shit even more cash, they could easily do it, but it's probably going to kill morale by laying off more people. But damn, this thing is a beast.
It is a beast. The revenue's staggering. And this is how Wall Street reacts for Google. They missed on ad growth revenue. So it was like 13% versus 11%. But 11% on that scale is bananas.
Yeah, it's a big number.
And it's just silly how the stock market reacts to these things. And that's why if you want to be in the stock market, playing the short-term game is pretty much just playing blackjack.
Right.
But if you believe in a great company, just hold it for a long time.
I mean, it's also why got smacked.
Right.
And it's because Google's CapEx was so high. And Sundar in his earnings call said, look, because of AI, obviously, it's like the flavor of the year.
Right.
He's like, when the curve is happening so fast, you need to overinvest and hope you're on the right curve, part of the curve, rather than underinvest and be way behind. And that's why I love technology companies, because they think like that. So yeah, Google got, smacked a little bit, but it's the similar, we've always talked about this. Like if Macy's and all these guys in 2001 and 2 saw Amazon, they're like, hey, we should probably overinvest in e-commerce.
Right.
And they may have taken a short-term hit in their stock because their CapEx went up, but they would be a significantly more valuable company had they done that.
I also just don't think any company on earth is truly built to grow everything every quarter.
Yeah, it's hard.
And it's
Like,
not
you just
smart to.
Can't. You know, yeah, it's not
Especially-
smart. Yeah.
It's not.
But to be fair, these stocks have been rewarded.
No, they
They've
definitely
all
have
been rewarded.
No, they've been
Yeah.
rewarded. But if you think about like kind of long-term view of what Google is thinking, like if AI is really this next frontier, which everyone kind of consensus believes so, if you're not on that, it's like missing e-commerce.
Right.
If you're
Right. And I don't think you can prove that every quarter. Like you're going to have to invest for a while and take losses for a while. I think it's more, you're right, D, they've been rewarded. They're going to continue to be rewarded. Everything's going to be fine. It's more for like, if you're maybe like a new investor or something and you had your money in one of these stocks and you're like, oh my God, it's all falling
fuck just
apart.
happened?
We're fucked.
Yeah.
You know, and just not
and
knowing.
the problem is
it's like what Facebook tried to do. They just picked the wrong
Reality
sector.
Labs.
They've
Right.
spent $50 billion on Reality Labs, $16 billion last 12 months.
So I've always been very anti-Reality Labs. I'm going to say one thing though. I see a lot of people with those fucking Ray-Bans, the Meta Ray-Bans. I actually see
But
a
don't
lot of
those
people
just
with
like take pay? What do those do?
Yeah, it's right now just taking pictures. There's a rumor.
It's like a better version of Snap glasses.
50 billion
Google
to put a
glasses,
camera
whatever.
in your fucking Ray-Bans.
I'll just say this. There is a rumor that Meta is going to take a stake in Luxottica, a 5% stake. Just take that for whatever it is. Luxottica, number one eyewear brand
Monopoly
in
of
the world.
eye brand.
Monopoly. They just got Supreme. Supreme's clearly going to do eyewear. How do you want to get a bunch of Gen Zs rocking your shit? Make some ridiculous Supreme glasses. It may fucking work. And so,
Right.
as much as I've been anti the Reality Labs because I just had not seen enough success, and you know, you could argue Vision Pro is a complete disaster.
Mhm.
Like in the words of Trump, huge disaster.
Huge.
They haven't even sold 100,000 units.
Huge.
There's zero demand now. It's literally fallen off a cliff. And that's basically what Quest is, a cheaper version of it. Maybe the sunglasses, they're seeing something happen where it's becoming culturally okay to wear it and people like it. And maybe they think it's their Apple Watch.
Or they're just waiting it out because this is what the luxury of Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple can do. Those four companies particularly. They produce so much free cash flow.
They can invest.
They have the ability to I don't know what his AI investment is, Zucks, but I'm sure it's significant.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's growing at a crazy clip. So he can pick each horse. And so can Google. And so can Apple. So can Microsoft.
I mean, the best example of what Google's done is, do you know how old Waymo is? Waymo is very fucking old.
Yeah, it's probably like 2000. They took it from Uber, 2013, 14? The guy that went to, I think he went to jail.
Lewandowski.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying before that, it was 15 years, probably 15-year-old business.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But
I mean, Google has that whole moonshot division where they just invest in these crazy ideas.
But like Waymo is going to work.
It will. It's already out here. You see it everywhere.
Everyone's taking Waymos, you know? And like,
Right.
I think, so Tesla earnings came out. They beat on revenue, missed on earnings. Stock got clobbered too, 10%. Interesting enough, it's similar. Tesla,
Robotaxi.
$3 billion of Tesla revenue this last year came from
What, energy?
energy.
Yeah. So it's like 158% growth or something crazy.
Yeah. Where the fuck was that? That just came out of nowhere. Solar panels, energy. Like these companies are making so many bets. Like if Tesla's right on Robotaxi, then you could add another 500 billion.
That's October 10th is the big...
and then he's got Optimus.
There's a chance that like
Prime.
Tesla owns like the software that Waymo and all those people run on. Like they might just win there so big first in driverless technology that because fucking every Tesla on the street is gathering data.
Yeah.
And like, man, I don't know. It's not, once again, not financial advice or whatever, but it seems like in like 5 different ways, Tesla is set up to own an area that is like $1 trillion area.
Yeah, I think my takeaway is they're all going to win. And
Well,
they're
you can
all
bet on
going to
that.
be
I think that's a safe bet. Right.
Yeah.
How we don't know exactly.
But they all produce so much cash flow. They have the smartest people in the world. They have the ability to invest in all these different things. Whereas like a startup, you have one shot. These guys have 100 shots.
Yeah.
And whatever small works well, they're just going to buy. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to this stuff long enough. And maybe this is what it feels like every generation, but it just seems like there's, these 4 or 5 companies that I just don't see how they ever go away at this point.
I think this is unique to at least as long as I've been an adult for the last 22 years that these 4 or 5
felt
companies.
Like this? GE?
Yeah. GE was that.
Right.
GE felt like they could never be destructed.
And they did.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, you talk about all these CEOs have all said they don't think their companies are going to be around in 30 years.
Yeah.
They think they're going to get disrupted.
They're just saying that to not get an SEC investigation.
I mean, there's a whole take in technology circles about how open source large language models, which is what like effectively AI is going to basically end SaaS. Because what Salesforce provides, 3-4 engineers can go.
But that's like SaaS isn't as big as everyone thinks it is.
No, if you look at the biggest companies, it's $1 trillion. If you combine them, easy.
Yeah, but like look at fucking Amazon. It's $3 trillion.
No, of course you're not. I'm not comparing it, but think about how much money is invested in SaaS.
Yeah,
annually.
I think they lost the plot on that.
Yeah,
that was a big miss.
SaaS has pretty much hit its peak.
Yeah,
and
it's just
open source technology or open source coding.
Yeah,
basically eliminates their moat.
So is that your winner of the week? Open source coding?
It can be.
The loser is SaaS. So, Kathy, sorry, but we have to cut it a little short today. So we're just going to end on this final topic because I don't really know anything about. So this Crowdstrike, there was this huge outage. Everyone saw it in the news. It grounded a bunch of flights. It caused
banks,
chaos.
Even this is another area where my mom texted me and said, make sure you have cash and gas. Things are crazy out there. Valid, not making fun of you, Mom. But here we are. Here we are on Wednesday and things are pretty much all back to normal. I don't really understand what happened. I heard some like tinfoil hat, Ukraine stuff. Can you guys break it down for me?
I'm all in on it. The servers are in Ukraine is what the rumor on the internet is.
So I'll tell you what the publicly stated facts are.
Okay.
And then
who's stating them?
How about you go publicly stated and D goes tinfoil?
Yeah.
That's fine. So CrowdStrike is a cybersecurity company.
Got it.
That Microsoft uses.
Okay.
That basically Windows and their products all use. They uploaded an update.
Yeah.
Last Friday, I think. And there was a glitch. And it's called the blue screen of death. And 8.5 million customers. So then you extrapolate how many people that affects. It's like billions of people, right? Because it affected Delta, Southwest, a lot of the airlines, hospitals, India, Bangladesh, Canada, like basically anyone who had a Microsoft product that was powering their systems.
Right.
Went blue screen of death, meaning you can't use it. So you can't figure out where a plane needs to go. You can't determine what this patient needs.
And you can't even install another update, right? You're just blue screen of death.
Yes.
Right.
And so that's the public. But on the record, I think it's a hack. I don't believe this public story. But D can go tinfoil.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a hack. I think it was all planned. Look at the series of events that's happened in the last week.
I think it's a foreign actor.
DJT they try to kill him.
Yeah.
Sleepy steps down. Kamala's coming to power. God knows what Sleepy was doing in Ukraine. Apparently, CrowdStrike has a presence in Ukraine.
CrowdStrike has a presence in anyone using a Microsoft product in their business enterprise.
So that's Ukraine. Is that false?
I'm not saying it's false.
People in Ukraine don't use Microsoft?
Okay, keep going, tinfoil.
And I think
who did it?
So what if you had to say What
I think it's so
Hillary.
Hillary. Yeah, I heard Hillary was connected to it.
My conspiracy is it's a foreign actor, and it wasn't a glitch. I don't think the deep state would want to cripple American businesses like
Why?
this.
They're trying to make a shift in power.
Well, that would shift to which way?
Maybe they got what they wanted.
They shifted Trump. They tried to
shifted-
kill him. Now they say, hey, he should be the guy.
That might have been all part of the whole story.
The crowd struck him. First, the crowd struck him, and then they crowd struck him. What I wish I would have watched. There's like some real YouTube, like Ukraine, Hillary Clinton. There's some real like deep shit on this.
It's good. It's incredible content.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do a little.
Well, Crowdstrike is offering a $10 apology gift to say sorry.
Uber gift.
Uber gift card.
Does that go to like Delta Airlines?
Just like one gift card.
Here's $10.
Dude,
But so what? I know like the Congress, everyone wants to investigate. What are you investigating?
Fraud.
Zelensky. I mean, maybe Zelensky just made a mistake. I mean, the guy seems to be not the brightest.
Zelensky could solve the problem. He has enough money.
That's true. I got to dive on the tinfoil hat videos because there was some really passionate people and they were talking about Hillary and Ukraine. And I really want to know.
How would Hillary be involved in this?
She's everywhere.
I don't know. She's everywhere. Her tentacles. Well, look, the thought on it, in all seriousness, the tinfoil hat thought is, did you guys see that like this is some crazy stat? Like this is the first election in 30 years that didn't have a Clinton, a Bush,
or Biden,
right? Running. Yep. And so the theory is that we've just been like this democratic deep state rule. Hillary Clinton is a major player.
I think you're overstating her power at this point.
I don't know.
I would say 10 years ago, you could make that argument for tinfoil. There's way better tinfoil than that. I think that's the laziest one. That's the laziest one.
Okay, let me ask you this as a Democrat. If Joe Biden, we all agree, wasn't like bam, 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 like here's what we're doing as a country, don't you think Barack and Hillary, and don't you think there was some conference calls like, hey, what do we do about this? Zelensky's tripping. We need to, don't you think?
Wait.
Just turn off those screens.
Yeah.
Let it go blue.
Like, okay, so this is how I picture it, is if there's a conference call, because Joe's not, doing it himself, and it's not just his advisors and his cabinet that we know of. There's a Democratic sort of think tank here, talking about strategically what to do, how to treat Ukraine, what to do about all the waste, what to do about Israel, what to do about, there's some really complex decisions that need to be made. Don't you think
Just pull the plug
is involved in that?
No.
You don't?
I think
at this point?
You don't think Barack's like advising?
He didn't. He's very involved in the campaign.
I think he was pretty removed from the Biden administration.
I mean, we don't know, but that's not how
that's
I picture
what like
it.
all the, like, if you read anything about it, you don't see him in the office. He was with Team USA.
He's not in the office. He's on Zoom.
Doesn't mean you can't get on the call.
Yeah, this guy's on the golf course with his AirPods in, like, yeah, fucking bomb him. I don't know.
Crowdstrike? What is that? A drone company?
Yeah, take him out.
So Crowdstrike affected many international countries, but affected America the most.
Yeah.
Sounds like Hillary. She's been doing it for years.
I mean, isn't the Occam's razor? It's a foreign actor.
No.
Occam's razor is it's an update glitch with an idiot programmer.
Same. Yeah.
That's what
That's
Occam has to
Hanlon's
say.
razor. No, that's Hanlon's razor.
Oh, what's Occam say?
Occam's most obvious answer is the right one. Hanlon's razor is don't mistake conspiracy with stupidity or something of that.
I think both razors are aligned here. I think, look, the guy on the roof was a 20-year-old and the fucking Crowdstrike was a bad update. Let's just keep moving.
Someone used a razor and cut the fucking plug. That's what they did.
Yeah, Occam's razor. All right. That's it.
We got some shout outs real quick.
Oh, yeah, let's do shout outs. We can do shout outs. Yeah.
From Arjo. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Chrissy. I really appreciate everything you do for us. Please know that I'm always here for you and support you 100% on whatever career you want to take. Wow. That's nice.
Very
Positive.
nice.
Very positive.
Next, from Matt to Ali and Jacob, huge congrats on your wedding this past weekend. There's nobody better than you two. You're so easy to celebrate. Wishing you all the best in your marriage.
A lot of love in
Look at
the.
our positive Cathys. Look at that Republican positivity.
Yeah. Optimism.
All right, we have like 1 minute. Let me just give content because I talked to Drama about this morning.
Oh, yeah. Please.
Joe Rogan, Francis Ngannou is the UFC. Was he the UFC champion at one point?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he fought Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua.
Right.
His story is insane. You don't even have to care about. I don't even watch UFC like that. And I just saw it last night and I was like, I'm going to listen to it because I actually like listening to things I don't actually know anything about. Right. And his story, his actual like kind of tidbits and advice, so incredible. I think it's a great listen.
His story is literally like a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone have a great weekend. Thank you for listening. We'll see you later.
Peace.